All right. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, May the 4th, 2023. Happy May the 4th for all of you who celebrate. Today is Thursday, so it's happy hour. And for happy hour this year, instead of getting all boozy, we're bringing in friends. That's what makes it happy. And this week, we've got a great friend coming in. We've got Chung. You might know him from Instagram. You might know him from my Cherry Blossom 10 miler weekend video. We also ran that race together. You've probably seen him in New York videos. You've probably seen him in all sorts of other content because he's been around, and someone that I've had the pleasure of meeting over the past year or so, maybe 2 years ago is when we first met. And I'm glad I'm going to have him on the live stream today. But before we get to that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast, on the audio only version. Hopefully you're having a good run out there. And today I had a really nice run. I went for a run in, I forget what the name of the park is over there. But whenever I do the loop, the path that I take it always ends up looking like a duck. So I call it Duck Pond, even though it's not called Duck Pond. Although there are ducks at the pond. But I did 2 loops of that, and then a little bit more, and I got 9 miles in, which is more than I thought I was going to get today. And isn't that always nice when you get more than you thought you were going to get? So hopefully that's what's going on for you guys if you're listening to this, or if you're commuting. Hopefully traffic ain't too bad. And for everyone that's watching this on YouTube later but not live, welcome to the #1 running podcast to listen to in the background while you're putting together IKEA furniture. I also went to IKEA today. I got some more shelves. So pretty soon I'll be able to zoom the camera out a little bit, and you can see even more shoes in the background. So that's always been kind of the goal. But welcome to you guys as well. All right. Now, without further ado, and if I can get this, I switched to a new laptop today, guys. And I'm not sure what's going on because now I can't see anything that's going on in the chat. That's going to be a big problem. That's going to make it real hard for me to be able to interact with you guys today. Oh boy, that's not cool. But we'll do the best we can. And in the meantime, let's bring on Chung right now. Let's see. Here, oh, there we go. This thing is real laggy, guys. Sorry. Where's Chris?
Hey,
do you guys see him?
Hey.
There. Well, are you there? There you go. Sorry about it. Yes, the video's choppy too. People are saying. I'm sorry about that, guys. That's probably all my fault. I switched to a new laptop and I ruined everything. Sorry, but Chris, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, you just got back from a really big trip, didn't you?
Yeah, I did a little spring break trip to Budapest, and that was just have fun, explore. No running related trip, non-running related trip, but I just wanted to just kind of explore, eat food, see the sights. So that's pretty much it.
Cool. So Budapest, that's in Hungary, is that right?
Yes, correct.
What is the food like over there? That's what jumps out to me.
Oh, I mean, the food is very heavy over there. So just like a lot of stews, a lot of meat, some fried foods, some good beer. It's always good to pair with it. So yeah, that's kind of what it's like.
Awesome. Very, very nice. Now the last time I saw you, it was in DC, and you were getting ready for a half marathon. Did you run that half marathon? Has that come up yet? Or
no, that's the Brooklyn half marathon in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yes.
So you took like a non-running trip in the middle of a half marathon training block?
Yeah, I mean, it was spring break time. I just had to get away. You can't take it too seriously. I'm not a pro runner, so enjoying life, enjoying some vacation time.
Okay. Very, very cool. Well, good luck on that one. Any goals for that race?
I am aiming for a sub 128.
Okay.
So I think that's around like a 6:40 pace. So when we had ran the Cherry Blossom, I was trying to hit, kind of my goal pace for half marathon on that race. And so I think we did a good job on that. Pretty much spot on 6:40.
Very cool. Eliza said, when you're in Budapest, you got to eat all the pierogies. Where did I go?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you get a lot of pierogies while you were over
there? I did not.
Okay.
I am dairy free, so I don't know if there's like cheese in there. I don't even get any dairy.
Yeah. No, I think pierogies are mostly,
is it potatoes?
I think it's potatoes is what's inside. But
Yeah, I don't know if they put like a cream sauce on it,
you
but
can
who knows?
yeah, you can get a lot. There could be other fillings, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, good luck on the Brooklyn half. Here's the thing though, like in New York, there's so many things called the Brooklyn half.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. There's like 4 Brooklyn half marathons. It
There
seems like.
was one recently, like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. It
It was
was, I think
Brooklyn
it was
Half.
really cold. I think Tommy Runs ran it. And I was like,
Yeah.
people were like, are you coming up for the Brooklyn half? And I was like,
Which
which
one?
one? Last year I went to one when it was in the middle of summer and it was brutally hot.
Yeah.
And then the one that just happened was like incredibly cold. So there's
Yeah.
just
And
so
I had
many.
actually met you at the one last year at the finish line when you were
Is
there
that
with
where we
Ben
went?
Ben Parks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I had met you there when we were at Coney Island. You were in the stadium
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
shooting some footage. Yeah. So
Yeah, that
I don't know
post
if that
race
was the
was pretty
first
fun.
time, but yeah.
Yeah. That post race was pretty fun in there. It was just such a hot day. Like I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
no one
It
wanted to
was
stay there
really
because there's no
humid.
shade.
I think we had like 95% humidity that day in May, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's right. I keep thinking that was late summer, but that was like the beginning of
Yeah.
summer.
That's basically May. So around May 20th, May 21st, I think last year. So just right at the end of spring, right around
Yeah.
that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whew. Oh man. That seems like such a long time ago though, already.
Yeah. A lot can happen in a year.
That's for sure. So let's talk a little bit about your Instagram. Is that
Yep.
where primarily where you post content?
Yeah, that's the main area. Sometimes I'll post some stuff on TikTok, but it's pretty much, recycled content on TikTok.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
everything I try to keep on Instagram.
Okay. And for those of you guys who don't know, it's _.
Correct.
On Instagram. If you need it, it's in the description of this video too, so you can grab it from there real quick. Um, but I was looking at the profile and you have in there like run and lift as kind of
Yeah.
like part of your bio. Can you explain to like us what that means?
Yeah, so I mean, I pretty much associate myself as like a hybrid athlete. And so what that means is I do a lot of cross training as well, in addition to running.
Mhm,
So I kind of started off as an athlete more so lifting. So more so like bodybuilding kind of style. So lifting heavy, real heavy. Um, and then I kind of transitioned into running. Maybe in the past 5 years, I got kind of more serious about it. But I've kind of maintained my lifting with it. I continued to lift heavy, continued to do more functional lifts as well. And so that's kind of where that description comes from, more of like that hybrid athlete training style.
okay. Because I feel like I look at the content, it's very different than like a lot of the other kind of friends that I have like that are runners on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I think that's like what's refreshing about it. But I'm guessing that your audience then is probably also a little bit too. Can you tell me about a little bit more of like how you view who your audience is?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, it's a mix.
Mhm,
I definitely have people that are strictly runners. And then I have people that are strictly bodybuilders or lifters. And then again, I have people that are also hybrid athletes, just like me.
mhm.
And so I try to cater to a little bit of both of them. My niche is, I would say, more towards running, um, but I always try to sprinkle in like my experience with lifting in there.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. But I think though that like that is like an area that is kind of ripe for growth though, in terms of like audiences that are getting into running and also audiences that are kind of already in social media. So it's like a good kind of place to be, I feel like.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other people that are like kind of seeing really big growth, it seems, that are
Mhm.
in this kind of like run, lift, just general fitness kind of thing where running was always it seemed like running was always like the thing that like that was like the yada yada part. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
lift, I do CrossFit, yada yada. And then like running was like never showcased. But now it seems like running is getting a little bit more attention.
Yeah, I think running got big, especially during the pandemic when
Mhm,
gyms shut down. I think
mhm,
people realized, all right, what am I going to do at home? And then, the only thing you could really do is like go for a run, really. I mean, you could still lift if you had a home gym, right? But a lot
right.
of people didn't have that set up. And so I think a lot of people ended up resorting to running and really
Mhm.
got into it. So I've seen a lot of new runners come out of the pandemic, which is amazing.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that too, and it's good to see. And I'm happy that it's not like the boring, yada yada anymore.
Yeah, I know.
All right, let's get some stuff from the chat here. First, we have Lou Klein, who said that Brooklyn half was nuts, so nuts. As we ran around Grand Army, we couldn't see it, and after
Oh
we got
yeah.
our car, we were like, "Oh yeah, it was humid. The fog was weird that day."
Oh yeah. That was pretty bad.
And then you have to explain this one. Kevin Hong says it's Chris Two Scoops Chung. What's that? What's two scoops mean?
I have no idea.
Okay,
We
because
got to
Stevie
get him
Singh
to
is
elaborate.
saying two scoops weightlifting. Is that? I have no idea what that
Maybe
is.
it's 2 scoop protein to
Maybe.
get that extra mass.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that like weightlifting culture is very different. I'm starting to, I've been to the gym 4 times now,
Yeah.
So I'm getting back in there, but like already my Instagram is like flooded with new, like Instagram's like excited when you look at something new because it's like, oh, I have a whole new
Yeah.
genre of content to show you now. And so it's
Yeah.
giving me all this stuff. And like the dry scooping was something that I'd kind of seen a couple of people do before, but I'm like, that's like a joke. There people aren't doing that
Yeah.
seriously. But then like there's some weird behavior going on. Not that runners aren't weird, but I feel like there's some weird behavior happening in the weightlifting world.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean,
that's
it's some craziness. You've got
yeah.
the smelling salts, right, to wake you up
Oh yeah, I've
with
heard about
bodybuilders.
that.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
I've never done, I'm not that serious. I'm not like going crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
Elliot Indoor says just started the hybrid journey. He's been building bodybuilding for 15 plus years and spent about 10 as a competitive powerlifter and started running 2 weeks ago.
oh wow.
Awesome. Welcome,
Nice.
Elliot.
Keep it up.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think are some of like the unique challenges for people that are coming from like a heavy lifting perspective that are, I mean, if you're a heavy lifter, you did some running, right? It's not like you did no running before.
Um,
So like, what do you think are
I
some of
mean,
the unique
really,
challenges?
I would say the most unique challenges are like running on sore legs like all the time.
Mm,
Um, I'm pretty much my legs are pretty much sore from like Monday through Thursday. Um, just I'm just kind of used to it running with that. And then this week's supposed to be like my peak week, and I just had to skip a run workout, yesterday just because my legs were just dead. And I know I'm supposed to be prioritizing the half marathon training, but I still want to add some strength in, because I've been racing a little bit, so I took some time off. Um, and so I was just like, you know what, let me go on an easier run, not do this workout. I can always make up for it in the next week or so. So I think that's
okay.
the biggest challenge, is kind of getting my legs somewhat fresh, but getting used to the fact that, okay, this is what it's going to feel like.
Okay. See, like I've had like kind of an opposite problem but it was more extreme than yours, where I'm like, well, I could always lift again later, or I can always go to the gym for the first time later, but I want to make sure I get my workout in. I always wanted to protect the workout, and so
Yeah.
now I'm kind of like, all right, I'm in a
And when you
phase
say the
of
workout, the run workout.
the run working. Yeah,
Yes, the run workout.
yeah. The
See, it
other
kind
one
of
is
depends on which one you started first. When I'm like, as a lifter, I'm like, the workout as in the lift workout.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a funny perspective. Because like, yeah, so
Yeah.
like that was always a hard thing for me. But I think what I had to kind of come to grips with was like with the way I am about it, I had to wait for like a kind of an off season. And so now when I'm not doing running
Yeah.
workouts is when like, all right, let's build a habit. Let's get used to this. And I have been going to the gym and then running right afterwards to kind of
Yep.
basically so I can have time to do at least a little bit of running on the same day, but also like just
Mhm.
kind of I got to get used to it because if this is something I want to incorporate, I have to get used to it at some point.
Yeah.
For you, how do you incorporate like how do you balance those two though in terms of like I know you're doing both, but like in a single
Yeah.
day, I know a lot of runners want to do their run workout first because they prioritize that, and then they'll do their
Yeah.
gym stuff later. Is that how you're approaching it, or
Yeah.
do you do it flip it around, or how do you look at it?
I flip it around. I kind of do what you were doing. Because I only lift 3 times a week. And so I really want to prioritize those lifts. And so I'll always lift first. and then I'll run after. And there's only 2 days that I do an overlap. So
Okay.
today I did a lift, a really heavy lift, but I'm not running today at all.
Okay.
So it's kind of like my rest day from running.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, like, how do you figure? I mean, then, like, how do you think the body is like perceiving that? Because like you're resting from one thing, but you're working really hard. And not is your body just always tired? Then is like
Yeah, it's pretty much, I mean, I'm constantly eating and I
right.
am trying to aim for like a minimum of like 8 hours of sleep a night. So I
Yeah.
think that's like the biggest like key to everything. Just eat and sleep. And then obviously just the normal recovery of like foam rolling or whatever it is. I try to squeeze
Yeah.
that in.
Yeah. What's your go-to recovery tool other than sleep?
Oof. I've been reaching a lot for have you heard of roll recovery?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like basically like a clamp. For those of you guys don't know it, it's like a clamp that basically has two rollers on it, and then you can really push down on either the quads or your calves or your hamstrings to the desired kind of pressure that you want. So that's been my go-to. It's easy to travel with because it's kind of flat. So
Mhm.
sometimes I'll pack that into my bag as well. So that's definitely my go-to.
Yeah, I have that one too. I think it's called the R8. I have the R8. I don't know if there's earlier.
Yeah, I got the R8 Plus. It's just like you can dial the.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a thing on top.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
use that one. I usually there's like 4 times a year I'll use it. It's like the day after a race. Like when I'm having a hard time walking, I'll like put that on as like gently as I can, and it kind of
Yeah.
hurts real bad, but in a good way. But that day is really important. Like I
Yeah.
look forward to using it. That one does really work for me.
Yeah.
Daniel Burton
That's
says,
definitely a
I
good
like the
one.
massage gun. Are you into the massage guns at all?
Yes, I do have a Hypervolt, and that's perfect for like when I'm just like watching TV and
Okay.
I'm just lazy, just laying there on the couch, and I just Hypervolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, yeah, you know what? What's funny is uh I had a bunch of them from a lot of different companies get sent to me as I was testing some. Like once you test one, like you make a video about one, everyone else is like, oh, you should look at ours too. And so I
Oh
had like a
yeah.
bunch of them. And so I have them like all over the house. And like the girls have taken them because they just think it's funny to play with, and they also just like it. Like my 6-year-old, she'll like put it on her thigh and she'd be like, "Oh, that's a spot," like that, and then like she's totally just like mimicking what I do with it. But it's
I
so
know.
funny that she's
It's
like,
like it
"I
just
need it.
hurts so good.
I know." She's like, "I need this so bad right now. Dad. Can I use it?" I'm like, "Sure, if you want."
Oh man.
All right. URJR says, all right, have you ever had a vacation smack dab in the middle of a training block? And how do you balance running with spending time with family and friends on vacation? I feel like this is a perfect
Oh
question for
yeah.
you.
Yeah. So that we just, we started off the live stream with this. I just went
Mhm.
to Budapest, maybe like what is that, like 2-3 weeks ago, maybe already. And so I kind of just balance it by enjoying the vacation. I know my priority is just to be there to relax. And so I'll get some very easy runs in just to sightsee, basically.
Mhm.
So I'll use my runs to just kind of explore, which is always a good way to add training in. So I did a few like 10-mile runs, but just at like a 9-minute pace, 9:30 pace. Because my body is just tired from traveling too, especially when you're in a different time zone. Um, you wake up early in the morning and you're just like still tired. So I took it easy, and I know it's not going to put a huge dent in my training 1 week.
When you were in Budapest, which shoes did you bring with you for running?
The Vaporfly threes just came out, so I really wanted to get some runs in them. So I
So you're
brought them with
easy
me for
running
every
around
run.
Budapest and Vaporfly.
Yeah, easy running, easy run. I was doing nine. I think I did 9:30 to 10-minute pace in the Vaporfly threes.
Okay.
The day after I got there, or the next day I got there, and it was perfect because my legs were just so tired from sitting for like 13 hours from like flights and transfers and everything. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. And it was a light shoe to bring, so it was
Mhm.
perfect.
Okay. And that was the only running shoe you brought?
That's the only one I brought. I actually brought a pair of Hokas, but those are beat up now where they're just like my walking shoes.
Okay.
So
Okay. Very
yeah.
cool. Were there other Vaporfly 3s in Budapest? I feel like you might have been the only one with Vaporfly 3s in like the entire country.
I might have been the only one. Yeah.
Calvin says, though, Calvin's backing you up. He says, Vaporfly 3s can actually handle the range of runs I found. Maybe hard to stay slow and the
Yes.
durability concerns, but it's soft and forgiving enough. So, all right.
Yeah.
There you go. And what do you think about the Vaporfly 3?
I do enjoy them. There's a lot more cushioning, Zoom X on it. I'm dropping a review tomorrow on it, like a little my opinion on them. But I'll give you guys the inside scoop now.
Nice.
I think they're good for, I would say 10K and up. If I had to race like a 5K, I'm still reaching for the Vaporfly 2s. I think they just have a better ground feel for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would guess then the Vaporfly 2s are a little bit firmer than the Vaporfly 3s, you would say?
Yes, I would say so.
Okay. Makes sense.
And it's
Awesome.
crazy to think because like we have all these like high stack shoes now where the Vaporfly 2 almost feels like a racing flat. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it feels so thin, right? Compared to
Yeah.
all these other racing shoes now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a sign of the times, but I think another part of it is just that, like, like the stack height numbers, don't mean as much as they used to. You know what I mean? Because like when basically every shoe was EVA, a stack height, meant something, and lower was faster, and taller was just heavy, right? But now it's just like, I don't know. Depends on the foam. Is that a lot of stack height or no? I don't know. Because sometimes I'll review a shoe and I'll be like, I don't know, I felt like there wasn't enough foam in here. And then someone will inevitably yell at me in the comments, like, there's 28 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot. There's no way there's not enough. And I'm like, well, it's kind of a squishy foam. So
yeah. And that's like the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pros. Because that stack height is way higher, but they were able to get away with it, right? By cutting the back off.
Yeah. Which I feel like I don't understand how that works on the rule, but okay.
Yeah, they found a loophole, so it worked for them, right?
Yeah, but you've run in that one. Have you raced in that shoe before?
I just did the Orchard Street Runners, the unsanctioned racing.
Oh, okay.
In the city.
Yeah.
In those, which was like risky because there's so many potholes in the city.
Yeah, well,
so
and you're like
I don't know
jumping
if I'm going to turn an ankle with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you came out unscathed.
Yeah, I was good.
Yeah, and how was the race?
It was good. I mean, there's always so much energy with that group racing. You just have some fast runners. You have people ripping through the city at like a 5-minute pace.
Yeah.
With checkpoints too. So it's fun. Like I know I'm not gonna win that thing, but it's fun just to get together with the New York City running community and just kind of run that.
Yeah, and you're based out of New York, Long Island, is that right?
Yes. So I'm like 30 minutes outside of the city.
Okay. And are you originally from that area, or did you move to that area?
Yeah, I was originally from Long Island. Then I was in Queens, New York, which is part of New York City. And then I was there for a couple of years, then ended up moving back here.
All right. Really cool. Really cool. And now, are you doing this full time, or is there another job? I mean, you don't have to tell me if you don't want about what it is.
No,
but
I do have a day job.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have a day job. But a lot of this content creating is definitely taking up a lot of time. So it takes a lot of balance. So a lot of my free time now is consumed with creating content, working with brands, and just kind of filming and all that stuff. So yeah.
And so in terms of filming, what are the tools that you're typically using?
Oh, I'm exploring that right now. I just got a GoPro.
Okay.
What is it, the 11 now? And I saw your review on that. I'm still trying to figure out how to use it because comes out really grainy compared to the iPhone.
Okay.
Or the quality is just not as good. So I've been playing around a lot with the settings. So I have that. A lot of my stuff is shot on my iPhone 14 Pro. Just because it's so smooth now to shoot on it. They have like crazy stability features. And so those are kind of like my two cameras that I use. I have a friend that helps me film. He's got a gimbal, or we use a selfie stick for filming. So that's pretty much it. Yep.
All right. Yeah. See, I love it when I can see or like talk to other people about what they're using, because it's not always the same things, like it's just kind of like what works for the kind of content you want to create, and like how like detailed you want to be into it. Like you don't have to have like a bunch of cameras and stuff. So I love to see that.
Yep.
Kevin Huang in the chat says, there's no poop talk yet. This feels like an actual interview for a Kavuzi Run Club stream. We always end up talking about it at some point. I'm sure we'll get there. And then we got Jay Preza here. He says, oh yeah, Chungy pose. I think have you met
Kafuzi hit that Chungy pose? Huh?
Yeah, have you met Jonathan in at the
when we were down in DC?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Tell me about the Chungy pose. Where'd that come from, or like what's going on with that?
Oh man. I mean, before Instagram was doing reels and I was posting, pictures, it was just kind of like a pose I threw in to get a whole like view of my outfit that I was wearing. Right. So it was just it was like a pose that I just threw in that wasn't me just staring at the camera. And so I wanted to try something different, and I kind of just stuck with it. And then Jay Pressa like started trying to make it go viral.
Yeah.
Hashtag see Chungy pose. So we were trying to get everyone to go.
Yeah, he says the Chungy pose is a movement. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you see a lot of people have kind of like a signature kind of stance or whatever. And it's always because it always starts out, I'm like, well, I have all these things that I'm testing and you need to see them, so it's like, how else do I show you guys what I'm,
I think, is it Ben Johnson has his like arms crossed usually, and he's like facing the camera.
Yeah, well, he's in front of his garage.
He's in front of the garage, and then sometimes he's got his arms crossed and he's just like facing the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, and Luis Becerra says there's a Scotty B pose. Scotty B is someone that's in the live stream regularly, and he usually is like kneeling.
Okay.
But I think part of the reason why Scotty B is kneeling is because I think he's a run tester. So like he can't show you his shoes a lot of the time. Okay. And so like the way he puts the camera.
The kneeling thing also, when Instagram used to only have square format. You couldn't get the full body, so you would have to kneel down to get the full outfit shown, right?
Well, that's why I feel like there's the one pose that a lot of like women tend to use, where like the one leg is like kind of kicked up, because like how else do you show the shoes without like going full body distance? So you got to like you kick up the leg. I'm not flexible enough to do that, but
my hamstring's gonna start cramping if I do that.
Yeah, that's so funny. Awesome. Let me ask you a little bit about kind of like your content and like how you approach it, because we talked a little bit about like your audience. When you go, like I've seen you at a bunch of different runs, at Brooklyn Half Marathon, at the Cherry Blossom 10 miler. When you're going to these events, like what's the lens like that you're approaching it from? Like what are you looking for, like in terms of what you're going to capture?
I think my main thing is capturing experience, like my experience, my personal experience, like what makes me kind of enjoy this trip or this opportunity to run this race. And I kind of want to bring the audience along with that. And so that's kind of my perspective. Like I enjoy getting dressed up for a race. And so I enjoy showing my outfit, right? And so I always like to do a reel like of my outfit and kind of getting ready going to the race. It always has this like, I don't know, like I watch the NBA and they always have like the game day fits, right? And they're walking down the hallway. Like you get that like special feeling of like, okay, this is my day. I've trained hard for this. I'm going to go race hard. So bring people into that experience, I think is kind of like the perspective that I'm showing.
Okay. And do you think that for your average person in your audience, they have a lot of experience with like races and like a flat lay and all that kind of stuff? Or are you introducing people to that kind of part of the sport?
I think people have experience with the flat lay, but I'm trying to introduce like a new like kind of creative lens to that, of like let's give this some aesthetic, instead of just showing the flat lay and that's it. Like let's beautify it. Let's make it
Yeah.
fun,
Mhm.
Let's be proud of what we're wearing, not just like through an image, but kind of also the little bit of the emotion, like when you kind of put on your vest, kind of feeling like you're Superman, like you're gonna go kill this race, right? Like you're gonna smash it. So
Mhm.
giving a little bit of that emotion as well into it, like you're kind of really putting on a cape or something like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. Um,
Yeah.
Eliza wants to know, Chris, what is your favorite post-run snack?
Ooh, post run snack. This is a tough one. I have a big sweet tooth,
Okay.
so if I have a chocolate bar, I'm like downing the whole chocolate bar, or or like a bag of Sour Patch Kids. So I try not to keep that in the house.
Yeah, but
Um,
even like, oh, okay. So even if you've had like a whole bunch of gels for a long run, you come home and you're like, I need some sugar.
oh man, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have the craziest sweet tooth. Like I can be munching on candy all day long.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm just trying to envision like you coming like across the line of a finish of like a race and then like
Hmm.
being like banana, no. Hershey bar, yes. And just being like,
Oh yeah,
and just,
totally. Totally. I mean, usually after a race, I don't feel like eating because I feel like I'm
yeah.
gonna like throw up. But after that, yeah, I'll grab something sweet, I think.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Yeah, Martha says like sugar is the last thing that I want after any run that involves gels. After Boston, I didn't want anything sweet for a couple of days. Yeah, I think it took me a little while to eat. The last couple of races that I've done, I just have really not wanted to eat anything for a long time, which is
Oh
weird because
yeah.
like after my long runs when I get home, I'm hungry. I could sit down and eat a giant breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I think it's coming down to like both the effort level and also like I've been using Martin gels and I just feel like it hits your stomach. It's not the easiest on the gut sometimes.
Okay.
What do you usually bring in terms of gels?
I'm all Morden as well.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and that's kind of the only thing I've ever used because when I started getting more serious about running and doing more long runs, I think Morden was making a big push in like their marketing, and I was like, "Oh, let me try this out." So that was the
Mhm.
first gel I've ever tried, and taking it for the first time, I mean, it was fine on my stomach, so I kind of just stuck with it. Um, and I like that it's kind of flavorless. It's just like tastes like sugar water.
Mhm.
So I don't mind grabbing Sour Patch Kids because there are flavors
Okay.
after.
I don't know. That sounds just so like I just can't imagine like being like, oh, bag of sour, but like, cause I just
Yeah.
the image in my mind is just ridiculous. I'm gonna next race. I'm gonna try to get you just a giant bag of it.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing.
All right. We had a question from Leona. Leona wants to know if you've got any marathons planned for 2023.
None.
Okay.
I'm not really interested in marathons right now. I'm just
Mhm.
like enjoying the shorter distances. I love them.
Okay. And Kit wants to know, do you find you're hungry after a weightlifting session or a run session?
I would say weightlifting.
Mm,
I'm just like constantly eating.
okay.
Like today, Thursday is probably like my biggest lift day. I'll probably have like 2 dinners tonight just because I'm
Yeah.
like constantly hungry.
I mean, you've got to be constantly eating because if you're in gym lifting as often as you are and also like half marathon training, like I know I'm hungry
Yeah.
all the time and I know I'm not eating enough. Like you've got to be like
Yeah.
you have to probably be very thoughtful about what you're eating.
Yeah.
Mm. Jay Garza wants you to do the Virginia Beach 10 miler
I
in
know.
September.
I'm looking into it.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking into it.
Mm. Oh, and Drew's here. Drew says, I will continue to peer pressure you into a marathon.
Drew, if we
And
can get a brand to sponsor one of those runs, then maybe I'll do it.
yeah. Yeah, well, Drew knows everybody because he's super sociable, you know,
Yeah.
and he seems
Yeah.
he's one of those people that like seems to enjoy networking, you know, and so like
Yeah.
it's always nice to just hang out with Drew because he'll just introduce you to everybody. So if anyone can help you make that happen, it's Drew.
Yeah. And I've been working with Drew for the past, like, I don't even know, like 6 months now, helping him
Mhm,
with a few reviews here and there.
mhm. Yeah, and I feel like that's a good that's a good collab there too because I'm like, all right, well, you
Yeah.
guys are kind of speaking to some of the same audiences and you have similar experiences. So I'm like this works.
Yeah.
This works for me. All right, Mike is running wants to know, is it just me, but I could eat a pizza after a long run. What about you don't eat you're lactose intolerant, so you don't eat pizza.
Yeah, I mean, I could have the vegan cheese.
Mhm.
I'll do the vegan cheese, but pile a ton of, like, meat on there, so whenever I go to the
Okay.
pizzeria, they look at me, like, funny because 'cause they're like, "Why vegan cheese?
Vegan
But, like, why all
vegan
this
cheese and
meat?"
sausage.
And I have to explain to them, "I'm just dairy free, I'm not vegan."
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
but my go-to, though, has been a sausage, egg, on a roll.
Okay.
It's like a New Yorker, like, breakfast sandwich, right? And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
posted it about a few weeks ago. Usually there's cheese on it, salt, pepper, ketchup, so that's been my go-to. You kind of hit up a deli after.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those have been good.
Yeah, oh, you know what? I'll tell you, like, in the Midwest, like, we just don't have that same, like, kind of, like, deli culture, and, like, diner
Oh,
culture
yeah.
is definitely, like, super different, and, like, every time I go back, I'm like, "This is what I miss," and, like, people are like, "This place, it's, like, in the side of, like, a gas station, like, this is where you wanna eat?" I'm like, "Yeah, look outside, it's all work trucks. The food is good here. People
Yep.
that know how to eat come here to eat," you know what I mean? I'm just like, "This is where you wanna eat,"
Yes.
but,
And the bagels
um
too.
yeah, yeah. You know, I tried to explain to my dad, he's like, "I don't know why you're so excited about the bagels whenever you come home." I'm like, "That's because you live here. You don't ever have to
Yeah.
leave these bagels. I have to leave these bagels after this trip." And he's like, "Oh, okay." One
Yeah.
time when he flew over, he brought me like 2 dozen bagels. Like that
Oh,
was like his
nice.
carry-on for the day. I was like, "This works.
Nice,
It's
nice.
a lot of effort. You don't have to do that, but I definitely
I
appreciated
think
it."
there is one company out here that does ship them across the country, so you
I mean,
might.
that always seems like a little bit extra, you know what I mean? I'm like, "Do I really need to do
Yeah.
that?" But I don't know, maybe once in a while.
Yeah. If you're really craving it.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Um, Here, Jay Preza got a question about, what's up with Mizuno? Which shoe should I get? I know you've been doing a lot of work reviewing a lot of the Mizuno shoes, and I feel like, you know, you're really doing the Lord's work there because some of them I'm like, I don't know what they have anymore, you know? Can you walk us through a little
Yeah.
bit of, like, your favorite Mizuno shoes?
Yeah, so I would say race day, obviously you would have
Mhm.
to go with the top of the line, the Wave
Yeah.
Rebellion Pros. But make sure you size up half a size at
Mhm.
least, because they kind of designed that upper like a track spike. So it's really tight. The first time I did a long workout in them, I had a few blisters. So I had to size up. I'm at 8.5, so I ended up getting a 9. Um, and then the everyday shoe, I went with the Wave Neo Ultra. So that one looks like the super bubbly.
Mhm.
I wish I
It's
had a
like blue
shoe
and
wall
white?
behind me like you did. Yeah, it's the blue and white one. And then it looks like really bubbly. It's a bit heavy, but I would say it's great for like just easy runs because it's got a ton of cushion on them. So those are the two I would say are great.
Okay. And then what else do you have, like, in the typical week for yourself? Like, now you're half marathon training, like, what else are you running in? What else are you liking?
Oof. Doing the speed workouts in the Vaporfly 3 because I'm looking to run the half marathon in them. So just trying to
Mhm.
get used to that. Um, what else do I have for easy? I really like the streak flies for very easy or recovery days. I know they're racing shoes, but I've told people this, like I love the lower stack height. It's just so refreshing to run in because everything's such a high stack height now.
Mhm.
So it really like lets me focus on my foot strike and kind of practice like my foot strike during my run. So that's one of my easy day shoes. And I know you don't love the cloud monsters, but that's been one that I take on my long run. Sometimes I just kind of like the firmness and the poppiness of them.
Okay.
So yeah.
I started out liking the Cloud Monsters, and then after a while, I was like, "I don't wanna wear this shoe." But you know what? And that's happened to me with like a couple of On shoes. But I've been running in the
Yeah.
Cloud Surfer, and that
Okay.
one, like the opposite is happening. At first I was like, this is okay. And then
Yeah.
now I'm like, oh, I want to run in that shoe. I'm eager to run in this On shoe, which I'm excited about because I've been rooting for On for years.
Yeah.
I feel like I love the concept, but they haven't delivered in my mind. Maybe to the European audience they
Yeah.
have, but not for the American audience, I think. And I feel like the Cloud Surfer is like, all right, okay.
Yeah.
I think this is it because like I'm liking it more and more as I go, which I'm like,
Yeah, for sure.
I'm surprised, but I'm happy to be surprised. Andrew Scott says he's the same with the Cloud Monster. He wants to like them, but he can't. But Martha says I had the Cloud Monsters and ran all last summer's long runs in them. So I mean, it's the thing is it's not it's not my favorite, but I don't think it's a bad shoe. I think that a lot of people it really works for them. So I feel like it's a good shoe for On, just not for me, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm really excited that I like the Cloud Surfer because I'm like, I like On clothing. I feel like they make some of the best clothes. So I'm like, all right,
yeah,
well
it's
now
so
I can have a shoe to go with it. The cuts are always nice. The designs are nice. You know, I'm like, all right, now this will work.
And they always have like the tape seams, right? So it's never stitched. It's got that like very clean look to it.
Yeah. That's a good part of it too. JC says he's still using the New Balance Beacon version 2 for some shorter, easy runs. He thinks he's about 3 years behind. That's an old shoe. That's a very old shoe. That's like a 4-year-old shoe now, I think. You ever run in that one, Chris?
No, I haven't. I haven't run in too many New Balances. I think I've tried on a few of them during like the Fleet Feet events where like they had the trials in New York City. But haven't really dove too much in them. There's just too many shoes to try out.
Yeah, there are. There definitely are. It's hard to pick. How do you pick though of all the shoes that are out there? Like what you're going to try and what do you want to spend your time on?
Yeah. I mean, when I first started running, it was like all based on like style, right? You're like, oh, this looks so cool. And so I think Nike was a huge like push in that sense. Like they have lifestyle and like performance almost like tied in together, right? So they have like the cool colors, the cool designs. And so that's kind of what I really lean towards and I really still enjoy now. And then now it's just I'm looking for the new tech, like, oh, what's this new, like when the Wave Rebellion Pro came out, I was like, this is a funky looking shoe. I've got to try this out. And so stuff like that really grabs my attention and makes me kind of want to try out a new shoe.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy novelty. I'm a little bit of a goldfish. I have a short attention span and I like things that glitter, you know, you know what I mean? So if it sparkles,
for sure.
I want it.
Yeah. Like going back to On, like the new what is it, the Cloud Boom? Like I want to try that. Like that looks awesome.
That one, I'm like, I'm good with the Cloud Surfer. I took a risk with it On and it worked out well. I mean, I'm like, I don't want to double down on the bet. I'm like, let's leave good enough alone. Maybe I'll wait to see what some other people say about it first before I will try to get that one. Because I look at it and it looks fascinating, but I'm also like, ooh, I don't know if that's gonna work.
You don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah, I want to have good momentum with On. You know what I mean? And that one, I'm like, oh, I think that's gonna be very specific, and I'm not sure I'm gonna like it
for sure.
Frank says he tried the On Cloud Swift. It was a hate run shoe for him, like the Mach 2.
Oh man.
Did you try the Cloud Swift? I don't think I've ever tried that one.
No, I don't think I tried that one.
And Shannon says the Adidas 4D shoes always intrigue me. Have you ever tried any of the 3D printed Adidas shoes?
I haven't, but they always seem like it's more of like a streetwear shoe to me. Like the styling, it's just very like, yeah. It didn't never seem like a performance shoe to me.
Yeah, they're trying. You know, I love the concept of it. I love the the novelty of it. And I've run in a couple of different generations of them, always thinking like, all right, I'm going to review this as a running shoe. Like, how is it to actually, it looks great, but how is it to actually run in it? And it's always
Yeah.
like, this is not ready yet. Not ready yet. 1
Is
year,
it just too soft?
it's too heavy.
That's too heavy. Okay.
Yeah. It just feels kind of like a little bit lethargic when you're running it.
Mm.
But it is comfortable to walk around in. And so when I ran the Houston Marathon several years ago, I always pack a different pair of shoes for after the race, so I can get out of my race shoes and into something more comfortable. And for after the race, I wore like Adidas 4D, and I'm in like the kind of like the post race party area outside the convention center at the Houston Marathon, and people are like, "You ran the Houston Marathon in those?" And I was like, no. These are just the shoes that I changed to do. Like, that was like the most shocking thing to people, was that like someone would have tried to run
Man.
a marathon in them.
Yeah.
Calvin
You know what
says
I'm
that.
intrigued in? I'm intrigued in a lot
Yeah.
of the Chinese brands
Okay.
of shoes now that are doing all the carbon plated.
Mm-hmm.
Seen some interesting stuff out there, but I'm kind of curious how they perform.
Yeah, Thomas has been looking at some, and like we had a conversation about it over Boston weekend, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I get like requests to review them every once in a while, and I'm almost like, I've always kind of turned it down because I'm like, it's interesting, but like you can't buy them here, So it'd be like reviewing for the sake of reviewing the novelty, but I'm like, well, then what am I reviewing? I don't know. Like, that's so I've always just been kind of like, I don't know about these. I don't know if they're
that's
like
true.
I don't know if they're like serious. You know what I mean? They're making something, and I know it, like they're probably moving a lot of units, but not here.
Yeah.
So then, like, do I? Why?
I've seen them on Amazon though. Like, some of the brands are on Amazon, so you can get those there. But it's not like a normal shop, right? It's not like their own online shop. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then it's just like, I don't. Then at that point I start getting worried. I'm like, what am I buying here? I don't know. But I love the idea though that there are more brands from more different regions that are trying to get involved. I think that's only going to be good for runners. And so I'm torn. Like, do I want to help kind of promote that kind of innovation? But at the same time, I'm like, if most of my audience can't get them, what's the point? I don't know. Maybe I just test them, but I don't do like a full review. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Calvin's got a question. He says, or comment. He says, it's wild that Adidas has nothing between the Lightstrike and the Lightstrike Pro. Maybe coming soon, but they need an intermediate foam for premium daily trainer or max cushion shoe. Have you had a lot of experience in the Adidas shoes?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I saw for the max cushion though, don't they have like the knit one where it's like super fat?
Yeah. I mean, that's Boost. That is kind of the intermediate. I think that's easy to overlook because you kind of forget that Boost started out as a performance product.
Yeah.
But now it's like in like the NMD R1s and like all the other like casual shoes. So it's like, I think I don't know. It's a great product. It's just, I don't like the way that they use it in the Ultra Boost. So.
Okay.
All right. Let me ask you a couple more questions and then I'll let you go. So something that I always like to ask other kind of like Asian creators whenever I get a chance to talk to them is, what did your parents want you to be when you grew up, and how disappointed are they that you're making videos on the internet for part of your living?
Well, let's address the second one. I don't think they realized that you could actually make an income from creating content. So I think when I first told them, they were just really shocked. Like, what? Are you like lying to me?
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, I need new Nike shoes. Can you give me some new Nike? Like, if I do some work with them, maybe I'll ask. But yeah. So I mean, I think they were shocked by it. And then growing up, I think they were pretty open to it. I think they knew like I wasn't amazing in school, so I wasn't going to become a doctor or a lawyer or any of that stuff. And so they were very supportive in like hey, look, so I design for work. And so they were like, you know what? I think you could go into the creative field.
Okay.
And so it's kind of nice that, what I'm doing now as a creator is kind of branching off into kind of like a section of like what I was trained in school. So yeah, that's always fun.
That's awesome. And so that's great. And they're supportive of that. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Awesome.
for sure.
I love to see that. It's my parents still, I don't think, believe that I'm making money doing what I do, but they're like, I don't know. They still have a house. So,
Yeah.
like the
Something's
kids seem
happening.
to
So you're
have
doing
new
something right.
clothes. So I'm like,
Exactly.
I tell them like, well, my wife makes all the money, so that's fine. Like, I don't have to make any. They're like, oh, I see. I'm like, but I really do. There's like income, and they're like, okay, sure.
Yeah. I think they're always shocked, right? Like, and that might not even be an Asian thing. That might be like a generational thing, right?
Yeah,
Like
it could be.
of content creation. Like that just didn't make sense back then.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about it like more broadly the other, like, I think it was just this morning because I was watching a video. I think Ali Ostrander did a video where she followed like the training and diet of like another like influencer. And I've been thinking a lot about like the word influencer and how like many negative connotations it carries and all that stuff. But then like the observation that I made, it's like, it's so weird that in the span of a couple of years, we went from like, what is it? Like the most interesting man in the world, commercials. And like, he was interesting because he was just interesting, and that was like something that was like became a cultural moment. And now we're like, people are famous just because they're interesting. What the heck is that? And they're all mad about like that people have influence because they're just interesting people. And I'm like, I don't know. We're so
I mean,
humanity is so fickle.
Yeah. And I think what people don't understand is like we're still creating the content, right? And so that does take a big effort in creativity and coming up with new ideas and concepts. So yeah.
Yeah. I think I mean, do you ever tell people that like you're an influencer, or like how do you feel about that word?
I think it has a negative influence. I mean, negative connotation just because I think when people say it or you mention it, there's always like that chuckle, right? Of like, this is a joke, right? Like,
Yeah.
like,
It's like,
are
oh,
you
so you're an
serious?
influencer?
Yeah, so so I like to use the word. I think we've shifted more towards the word like content creator now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of equal. I would say there's some differences there, right? Sometimes an influencer will just like take a product and just post it just because they're getting paid a ton for it. And they might never use it again. But I think as a content creator, you're really thinking out the process and really telling a story. And so when I do tell people, yeah, I feel like if I say influencer or they call me an influencer, it's always like, it almost feels like a joke, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some kind of negative connotation to that.
Yeah. I don't ever introduce myself as an influencer, but I think I ever like call myself a content creator either.
Yeah.
Like, I don't usually ask people what they do we just moved to like a new town out in the suburbs.
Yeah.
And like, I don't ever ask people what they do for a living, and people usually don't ask me. But what usually happens is when they meet my wife, then they're like, by the way, what does your husband do? It's always kind of like under the breath because they're so curious, but they never want to ask me about it. And my wife's like, what do you want me to tell these people? I'm getting asked questions. And I'm like, I don't know, just tell them I make YouTube videos, like don't try to make it fancy. Just be like, he makes videos about shoes, he runs.
I mean, I have a funny story about that. I was playing basketball like a few months ago with a bunch of friends. One guy brings his other friend and he comes up to me. He's like, yo, are you on Instagram? He's like, I've seen you on Instagram before. I was like, none of my friends knew, right? Like, I don't like talk about it. And this guy goes, yeah, I've seen your content on Instagram before. It's like really cool. And I was like, oh yeah, I am. And he's like, cool, I'm gonna go follow you now. Like, and I was like, so random that like this person, like a friend of a friend, kind of recognized me through Instagram. So I'm like, I guess I gotta start telling people, or else it's gonna just start coming out.
Well, it's probably going to happen to you more and more because I feel like you've been growing quite a bit, it seems. And you've been making the rounds, and I've been seeing you at all the different events, and it's always good to see you and spend time with you. So
For sure.
I look forward to spending more time with you at future events.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I've already taken up a lot of your time, and I want to thank you for that, but I'll end it here. If people want to see that C Chungy pose, tell them where they can find you.
Oh yeah, for sure. At _CHungy on Instagram.
What? Tell me about that underscore. Is there already a C Chungy, or what's the
There
deal?
is, but I can't find who it is because I'm willing to like pay them for that account, just to get rid of that underscore. But I mean, we've caught on with the underscore,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna keep it at this point, right? Like, there's no
All right.
point in changing my username.
Yeah. Awesome. That's what I figured it was, man. That's so funny. Awesome. Right. All right. Well, everybody, while you're looking at your phone, go to Instagram, add Chris real quick. You're gonna enjoy it. So, thanks, Chris, for joining us for today.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. And guys, tomorrow, I don't know if there's going to be, I really have no idea what I'm going to make for tomorrow's video. So there might not even be a video tomorrow, but I will see you guys for a live stream. So, yeah, same time as today, 1 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Bye.